Cool. Well, welcome. For those who don't know me, my name is Kelly Stutz. I'm an advisor in the SOE Hub, and along with me is Bulos. And you've probably seen our faces before. Today's session is, about how to bounce back from maybe a semester that didn't go as well as you thought. As a first-time student at RPI, so we're going to go over a few things. Today's agenda is, GPA rundown. How does a GPA work? What can you do to help increase your GPA? Some advising tips, typical things that we've always said from the hub, how to stay organized and some tips for that. And we'll finish off with some campus resources. So this presentation shouldn't be too long. Of course, if you have any questions, please write them in the chat. I will rely on our other hosts, Karen, Kim, or Bulos to let me know if there's any, comments in there that we should address. Cool. So we'll start off with some facts. This is a typical high school GPA for accepted students into RPI. It's somewhat dated, but it still stands pretty true. This is what a typical high school student is seeing, to get into RPI. Now, getting to RPI, you might not have heard of a 4.0 scale and how that works too. So some high schools do a 100-point scale, and that could be a little different for you. So we'll kind of go through that also. From the CCBD, they do recommend if a 3.0 GPA at RPI is what we want you to advertise on your resume. So 4.0 may not be the goal, but if you get a 3.0 at RPI, that's, pretty legit. And it just shows how, rigorous the RPI curriculum is. It's listed on your resume and it shows that you're an RPI student in the engineering college is a pretty big deal, and they know how challenging it is. Some GPA calculation. So GPA is quality points divided by credit hours, and that's your cumulative GPA. So this came from the registrar's website. If you're taking calc 4 credits, chem, processes, and psychology, 4 credits times 4, or for chemistry, I'd say that's 16 quality points. So this is kind of the formula you want to follow. There's plenty of websites out there. I do want to warn you, a lot of them round up. So sometimes it might be best to create your own formula in Excel and, start plugging in numbers of what you hope to get this semester. For those that need a certain GPA this semester, you can start plugging things in of, okay, I can get this grade in this class. What can I do moving forward to make sure I meet these benchmarks throughout the semester? We do recommend, in order to project your future GPA, use different scenarios and GPA calculators. Sometimes, it can be really helpful just to give you some type of organization and gauge of how to move forward. Cool. So here's a scenario. So we have, a freshman student in fall of 22, you end up, maybe at 216 GPA. So that's 17 credits being accounted for in that GPA. Maybe not as well as you thought you would have done. So now we go into this semester, starting fresh, let's see what we can do. So it's in your spring semester, you're taking 17 credits. We're still sticking around that B range and we get an A in there. That's awesome. I will point out that engineering processes is a pass fail course. So that credit does not affect your GPA. It's an earned credit type of course. So it's 16 GPA credit hours. And so, we're moving up. Now we're at a 2.4. And if we project further, say in next fall, you take these courses, you have 19 credits, and then you do really well. You use the summer to relax. You're able to really grind in the fall, and you get a 3.15 for the term, and now you're up at a 2.68. This is an example of how you can bounce back from previous semesters. It's time, it's credit hour. By the time you graduate, you can really increase your GPA and get to that 3.0 scale that you really want to highlight on your resume when you start doing your job search.
Also, too, coming from the CCPD, when I, back in my career counseling days from the year before and prior, if that makes any sense. Sorry, a little bit of a word salad there. But anyway, GPAs are really not that much important to a lot of employers at the moment, as much as real life experience, such as involvement. So, like if you're a part of a club or an organization, they really take stock into the bigger picture rather than just a basic GPA or whatever is showing up on your transcript or on your resume. So going back to that slide where a 3.0 GPA is recommended by the CCPD, that is true. Yes, they do look at GPA, but they also want to see everything else that you're bringing to the table as well. And you also too, by joining a club or organization, you never know who you're going to meet. If you're concerned about time, do you have enough time to commit to a club or organization because you might be worried about trying to improve your GPA again. All that stuff is taken into consideration too. So even if you're involved in one club or organization, that's totally perfect. That's enough. That will definitely be included in the equation when employers take a look at you or at your application when they're deciding to bring you in to their company as well.
Yeah, great point. Thanks, Bulos. Cool. I will pass it on to Bulos.
Yeah, so some advising tips for success. First and foremost, meet with your advisor. I know there's a lot of things happening on campus and there's a lot of people that you need to meet, but if you could try to plan to meet with your advisor at least once per semester, I think that'll be much better than not meeting with your advisor at all. And that applies for anybody else on campus too. If you could try to build at least one meeting or one session with your career counselor or with somebody in another department that you might be using, like international services, for example, or health services. See if you can really try to get them in your schedule at least once per semester. It's going to make a huge difference in your experience here at Rensselaer. Another really important thing is to know the deadlines. Two really big deadlines to keep in mind right now are right here on the slide. One is March 3rd, and that is the drop deadline. And the other deadline is April 14th. That is the pass no credit deadline. Now, you really want to try to understand which is which and what each do. Obviously, the drop deadline means you won't be able to drop courses after that March 3rd date. You can still drop courses technically, but it would still show up on your transcript as a W for withdrawal. But if you were to drop a course before that date or on that date, um, it's it's like poof, it just disappears from your transcript. It's like you never took it before. So if you feel like you're gonna fail another course, or if you feel like you're gonna fail that course again, might be a good idea to drop it and not have it mess around with your GPA again moving forward. You can retake courses again, which I believe I'm going to be talking about in a second. And when you retake courses, it's gonna be like you only took it once on your transcript. The pass no credit, there's a little bit more fuzzy details attached to it. Basically, you won't be able to pass no credit courses that are part of your major or your pathway or your minor. So what else does that leave us, right? But technically, it's going to be for any electives, free electives, anything like that, that you can pass no credit. Um, yeah, if I was wrong, you can interject too. But that's pretty much it. Just really have a good understanding of what you can pass and what you can no credit, and also is a smart strategy for what you can drop as well. Um, Talking about repeating courses, like I was saying, if you were to retake a course, um, RPI is pretty generous about that. I don't think that they charge you anything extra for retaking a course. And when you do, the catch is the new grade is going to always replace your old grade. So let's say if you got a C and you want to retake that course and you got a D, you're going to get stuck with that D, right? So you want to make sure that you're being smart about what courses you're retaking. When you want to settle for a grade, when you feel like you need to boost it or upgrade that grade, that's when you want to go in and attack it and retake that class. And like I said earlier, it automatically replaces your grade too. So that might be a huge boost to your GPA as well. So some organization tips, have your dates out in the open, someplace that you could see them. Kelly, for example, has a giant calendar on her desk. I have my whole life in my calendar on my Outlook, and I get notifications on my phone. We at the Hub, we have four large calendars behind us. You can't really see it because it's really blurry on my end, but four large calendars. We have the whole semester, spread out on the wall where we can all see and we write everything down, whether it's school related, personal related, like time off, that sort of thing. See if we could try to get in the habit of doing that on your own too. Have a week by week schedule, whether it's all your classes and your hour blocks. Also include fun stuff in there, like your clubs and organizations that you might have just joined. When you're going to be going out with your friends or you're going to be visiting family. It's just really good to have that organization skills and really good, important to have those dates in front of you too. So you know what's going on, you know what to plan for. Nothing's going to hit you from the blind side or anything like that. Due dates are really important to have on there, obviously. So March 3rd, April 14th, those are some pretty important ones to have on there. But also, when are your exams? When are your quizzes? When do you have days off? When don't we have classes? It's always really good to have that information out in the open, and someplace where you're going to be seeing it at all times. And this pretty cool graphic that Kelly found too, all possible knowledge that's out there. Um, what you don't know. Wait, hold on. What you don't know, you don't know. What you know, and then what you know you don't know. If none of that makes sense, that is totally okay. I would really suggest that you take a picture of that graph and really get to know that, because it's just a pretty good holistic way of figuring out how to move forward and how to get organized. So kind of like what I was saying earlier, having everything out in the open and everything in front of you, create a centralized place that holds all your dates identified. And it's recommended that you write down all your professor office hours too. So if you didn't take advantage of building a relationship with your professors last semester, I would really highly encourage that you do that again this semester if you can. Professors aren't going to help people that they don't know. So if you drop a couple of emails, if you knock on their door for their office hours, if you meet with them regularly, you're going to build a relationship with them, and it's going to take you far more than helping you with your homework. You never know, that relationship might stem into a letter of recommendation for you and get you into an internship that you might want to get into. Further down the line, they might end up hiring you to do some research on campus or off campus. You never know what might happen, so really lean on your professors if you can. So if you want to take a snapshot of this QR code, last week we hosted an event in the Union where we invited all campus resources to be in one location. If you were there, awesome. If not, that's okay. But that link will have pretty much everybody's webpage in one central location. Some of the ones I wanted to highlight here were International Services for Students and Scholars, ISSS for short. So if you're an international student, they could be a really good resource. I'm sure you've had plenty of run-ins with them already. If you have not, I would really encourage you getting in touch with them. If you're not sure, international students means you are coming from another country outside the US. So we get a lot of Canadians, people from Asia, people from Europe, pretty much all over the world come to RPI, and ISSS is a really good resource for you to get in touch with. And if you feel like you have a really big problem on your hands with your visa or, um, you know, anything like that, I don't even want to pretend to know I know what I'm talking about when it comes to all that stuff. ISSS knows. They are absolute experts in everything like that. The Rensselaer Union is your link and connection to any sort of clubs and organizations on campus. They also host a bunch of great events on and off campus that you might want to partake of. And then Archer Center, you will have a bunch of run-ins with them. If not this semester, then maybe next year. They are awesome folks with professional development. They teach a couple of courses in that topic. And it's, skills and knowledge that you're going to be bringing with you everywhere that you go. both here at RPI and beyond. And then, of course, the CCPD, Center for Career and Professional Development, they will help you. They'll sit down with you, bang out a resume and a cover letter. They'll teach you how to apply to jobs effectively. Even if you think you know how to apply to jobs and write a resume, you should probably still go talk to them. Kind of like what I was saying earlier, trying to talk to somebody, a professional staff member on campus once a semester. The CCPD is definitely somebody that you want to have in your corner, especially with the career fair that's coming up around the corner on February 8th. Even for freshmen, even if you feel like you don't have a strong enough GPA, you should still go talk to the CCPD. They'll come up with some strategies for you to help you get in touch with recruiters and get you well on your way to get that internship. Maybe not this year, but for next year, or maybe during your arch semester. Maybe you can find that co-op, and you never know who you're going to meet at the career fair. So I would really encourage you to go talk to the CCPD and go to the career fair as well. So those were some departments on campus that don't really have much to do with academics, but these guys right here on this slide do. CompLus D is our writing center. That's just how I always have mentioned them as writing center. They changed their name not too long ago, maybe a couple of years ago. The writing center is very effective when it comes to writing, obviously, right? But it's more than just that too. If you feel like you're really struggling with a paper, with a cover letter, maybe writing's just never really been your strong suit, go to these guys. They will take care of everything that you need to get started with a paper, whether it's breaking it down, whether it's giving you a pep talk and pumping you up. They'll tell you if your paper is horrible and they'll throw it in the shredder for you, and here's how you can rebuild it. They do it all. So I would definitely check them out if you can. ALAC is also a really good resource. If you didn't use them last year, you definitely want to use them, or if you didn't use them last semester, you definitely want to use them this semester. ALAC will sit down with you either in a one-on-one setting or in a small group setting. I know they were a little bit busy last semester, but if you can shoot them an email, maybe set up a time where you can meet them, figure out when the best time to meet them is. Those are all really good practices to try to get some good face time with ALAC. They also do drop-in tutoring, kind of like what I was mentioning. Check out their website if you can. A lot of their drop-in tutoring times are after hours, usually like 8 or 9 o'clock at night. I know it's a slow time of the day for everybody, and you're probably winding down from a really busy day. That could be a really great way to help you get ahead in your classes and get on those grades as well, and bump up that GPA. Doing all these small little things here will definitely get you to where you want to be. And then finally, I believe this might be the last slide. Health and Counseling Center. It's located right on campus. We are familiar with everybody in that department. For the most part, we just had a meeting with Dan Brenner. He's one of the therapists on campus, and he's awesome. He's one of my favorite people on campus for sure. They're not too far away. They're open 7 days a week. They'll schedule appointments out for you within a couple of weeks. If it's an emergency, of course, they will definitely see you right away. But it's a really good place to go to and talk to someone. You're not alone in any way, shape, or form here on campus. We know RPI is a really difficult place to be, and sometimes you might be beating yourself up a little bit too much. But if you feel like you need a little bit of a pick me up, or if you feel like you need that little bit of extra boost, definitely get in touch with one of us or get in touch with someone at the Health Counseling Center, and they'll definitely work with you with whatever needs that you might have.
Cool. I also want to plug that the counseling center is doing drop-in counseling. So today's Tuesday. I believe they are in ECAV from 2:30 to 4:30. So we just reposted it on our Instagram. So something to keep an eye out. They're meeting you where you physically are. So whether that's in the library or ECAV, the Mueller Center, the Student Union, some of the hotspots on campus. They're definitely there to help, and maybe that can turn into more frequent appointments with that office. But they can help you in a lot of other areas than mental health, in terms of improving your study habits, test anxiety, things like that. Just a really good resource to have.
And thank you for bringing up the drop-in areas too. Starting either this week or next week on Thursdays, they're going to be hosting drop-in hours here at the hub too. So if you're getting out of class at 5 o'clock, you can find them right here in the JEC. So definitely take advantage of that if you can.
Yeah, awesome. I forgot about that. Thanks. Cool. Well, we're Kelly and Bulos. Welcome to our chat. Um, if there's any questions that you have, or more specifically like individual questions, of course make an appointment with your advisor. SAM appointments are ramping up. What materials do you need? A lot of that information is on our SOE Hub website, so please take a look at that and read your emails. We're here to help. Your first semester does not define you, and we're able to bounce back from that. So get in contact with your advisors. Like I said, we're here to help.